Alright, what's up, folks? Rich Van Tassel back with you. We just had another game go final. The Milwaukee Bucks, very impressive in the second half, running away from the Toronto Raptors to take the 1-0 series lead. And Toronto's record in the first games in a series is now 1-11, and I don't believe they've won any under Dwayne Casey. So those struggles seem to continue. We talked about that in the playoff preview. I still would like Toronto to win this series. Obviously, it's very tough. Not very tough because they did it twice last year, but it becomes more difficult when you lose the first game. I think this will extend the series, certainly. Anytime the lower seed wins game one on the road, I would usually expect it to go 7 games, especially in a first round series. If it's a case where in a second round or a conference finals or whatever, where the better team is swept through in 4 and 5 in the 2 rounds, and the other team just played a 7 game series, then comes in rolling and catches the other team because they're just not as sharp because they've had more time off. That's a situation where you might see the sweep, but it becomes incredibly difficult to win 4 straight after. I mean, it's difficult to win 4 straight in any sense. So certainly you could see a 6 or 7 game series now. In this one, Giannis Antetokounmpo was excellent, 28 points on 13 of 18 shooting. My Rookie of the Year pick, the rookie Malcolm Brogdon, was also very good, 16 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 of 7 from behind the arc. That was an interesting story. Only 9 of 23. It seemed like they had made more 3 points than Milwaukee Bucks, but still just shy of 40%. Toronto, 5 of 23. Of course, DeMar DeRozan, their key offensive guy, is not much of a 3-point shooter. Tony Snell, I thought, was very impressive all the way around. I mean, all the guys on Milwaukee, even Chris Middleton, who was struggling for most of the game, he picked it up afterwards. Their bench was good. Greg Monroe, solid 14 points, 15 rebounds off the bench on 5 of 11 shooting. Matthew Dellavedova, only 3 of 9 shooting with 11 points. Did not have any assists, so the 11 points good. The shooting could have been better for the Toronto Raptors. Serge Ibaka was good, but he cooled off. He was a little injured with an ankle. Went down. I'm not even sure I can't remember if he left the game or he just went to the sideline and they had a timeout. He was not out long, but he had struggled after that point, but still 19 and 14. DeMar DeRozan cooled off in the second half with 27 points, as did all of Toronto. They went through about a 10-minute stretch between the end of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth quarter where they didn't even make a shot. They only scored 32 in the second half and 13 in the fourth quarter. Not going to get the job done. Kyle Lowry continues to struggle in the playoffs. He was minus 22, 4 points, 0 of 6 from behind the arc, 2 of 11 shooting total, 6 assists. Kyle Lowry has routinely struggled in the playoffs. Now, this year, of course, this would be his 6th game back. He played 5 games at the end of the regular season following a long, extended injury. So you look at that and you would have to, at least understand the potential for him to be a little rusty, especially playing extended minutes in a playoff game. He did play 34, but he has struggled in the playoffs in the past. The bench was essentially non-existent for the Raptors. Patrick Patterson let me down, 3 points. PJ Tucker, 7. Basically all the bench players played, because the game got out of hand. It was a good game. It was right there, 51 to 46 at halftime. It was still relatively competitive at the end of the third quarter, but at least midway through, the scores certainly didn't get out of hand. Milwaukee had only gone into the fourth with a 5-point lead, but it was towards the end of the third when Toronto continued to just go downhill. Now, moving forward, clearly for Toronto, Kyle Lowry has to figure it out. He's going against the rookie. He's got to find his offense against the kid. I know, he's a potential Rookie of the Year. He was my Rookie of the Year. But that's where he's got to get it. Brogdon is a bigger guy. The length was also a problem. And one guy I wanted to highlight, actually, I forgot to, was Thon Maker of the Milwaukee Bucks. He had 3 blocks. They all came in the third quarter. Only 15 minutes, but especially with the way Toronto likes to drive with DeMar DeRozan, you got some big guys in there. I didn't even expect that to be a dynamic simply because Thon Maker, while he starts, he doesn't get many minutes. But he's definitely played his way into it on this one, so we'll have to see if Jason Kidd extends his minutes moving forward. Valanciunas only 9 points. Gonna have him be big in the post, especially if Kyle Lowry is struggling. DeMar DeRozan can't cool off, and again, especially if Kyle Lowry continues to struggle. So some things to keep an eye on. But again, the game one woes continue for the Toronto Raptors. Certainly, you don't want to fall down 0-2 in any sense. I think they could climb out of an 0-2 hole, even losing the first two at home. But you'd have to see what happens with the next game. Game ones are the ones that teams tend to get. We saw Indiana almost do it, the lesser seeds. It's usually not often that a lesser seed will win a game two unless they're blown out in game one. Like Indiana, it was a close game where they lost. To come back and win game two would be surprising in that regard. We discussed that there. It's just one of those things. I don't know how much it plays into it. I just tend to think that the better team gets the win because they're the better team. But it's, a discussion where how do these guys do when they have their opportunity, so to speak, and they let it go. So we'll see what happens in that regard. But Antetokounmpo, I don't think he'll play this well moving forward. He didn't really mark up DeMar DeRozan. That's something I expect to see at certain points. But, DeMar DeRozan took himself out of the game, so if you don't need to put him on there, you don't have to put him on here. Also had 4 fouls was Antetokounmpo, so the foul trouble would make it more difficult for him to mark up. A guy like DeMar DeRozan can certainly pick up fouls that way, and DeRozan was 13 of 14 from the line. They shot 33 total, 24 of 33. 9 misses isn't brutal. It's 72%, just shy of 73. Got a little tongue tied there. So you have that going for you if you're Toronto. You can get to the line. You got to make them though. Even if they made half of what they missed for more was going to make a difference. They just could not hit a free throw or a field goal, excuse me, for too much of an extended period of time. All right, so Milwaukee with the 1-0 lead. We've got San Antonio and Memphis coming up. Be curious to see what happens in that game. Probably going to flip back between that and hockey. So I don't know what I'll watch, but I'll be sure to stay tuned and then give you the report or the recap when it goes final. Remember, we appreciate all subscriptions as well. If you want to spread the word, show it to your friends, any other basketball fans, we appreciate that also. So we will see you in a little bit, and thank you all so much.